Mm.
Would you like to be able to think and speak success into your life and your relationships? And what would that feel like? And how would that affect your life and your relationships with your partner, your kids, your parents, your colleagues, your friends? How would it eventually also affect your business and the results that you're getting in life? You know, do you really know how much that your choice of words matter? At any given moment, you're either thinking or speaking success into your life, or are you stalling it, perhaps? And why would that be? Because the words you use are literal building blocks to what you create at any moment. And now, would it be valuable to you to learn how to speak success into your life, your relationships, and your business? So cool, because that's what we're focusing on today in today's episode. I'm awesome Angie Engstrom.
And I'm Kira Atka. And today we have the amazing Laura Burkey, and we're so excited about it. So welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here. Hi.
We've been looking forward to having you on our show. So thank you for coming. And now some of you might not know Laura already. So for those of you, I'm just going to share a little bit about her. I hope that's okay. Now, Laura, she has been a thought, a behavior, and a communication coach for 30 years. So she's got a lot of experience. She also has a degree in psychology and interpersonal communications, and she's also into NLP. So she has the perfect background, you might say. Laura states a mission like this: to help people tap into their inherent power and develop personal mastery through understanding the power in their words and use their words for maximum benefit. I love that. That is so powerful. So we are really looking forward to diving into it today with you, Laura. Thank you for coming.
It's so funny. It's just listening to you guys introduce this. My heart is like, I'm getting so excited because I love this topic so much, and just you guys introducing, it's hilarious to me. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk about this. So yeah, I love this topic.
I love it. I love it. All right. So let's jump in. Laura, what decided you to get started working with words and people and all of this? So talk to us.
What a great word, Angie. She asked, what you said, what decided you? What did you decide?
What
How did you decide?
inspired you to get started
Inspired.
down this
I that
path?
you said decided, because that's an important word. Okay. What inspired me? Okay. So what inspired me really to where I'm at right now, and that I have to get out and I have to illuminate to people that the mundane, everyday, normal language, words that you use on the regular, on the daily, many times in a day, those words have powerful effect on you, and then thus the outcome of what you do in a day. The effect they have on you is psychological and emotional, which affects what people do in performance. So after 30 years of coaching people one-on-one, and just seeing patterns in when a client would have a breakthrough, overcome an obstacle, accomplish the thing that they want, or when they would stall, be paralyzed in fear, go down rabbit holes of negative narratives and just not get it done, or completely retreat from their desire, I was seeing the pattern in their language. And then it wasn't just with my clients. I was seeing it on the bigger stage. I would see it when I was reading books, biographies, autobiographies, listening to interviews. And this is all back, in the 90s and 2000s, before there was social media and anybody could write a book or have a podcast or whatever. It usually that was just reserved for people who'd really done something. And I was hearing the language in them as well. So that's what inspired me. After all these years, I said, I have got to tell more people than one person at a time what I understand in their language and how we can tweak it so they can get a better result.
I love that. Yeah, it's really just fascinating because words are so powerful, and we just flippantly use different words, or we get stuck into these patterns of using certain words, and we don't even know how much they truly are building us up or tearing us down. And until someone like you shows up, and it's like, oh, Wow. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But until you know, you don't know. And
That's right.
you are just, I love that you are just so like you know how to analyze the words in such a way to create that language like within a group. Like so it's important that each group has its own language and knows what it means. And that's not talked about very often. And I don't think a lot of companies build that culture or organizations of any kind don't always like intentionally put that into their culture. So can you speak a little bit more to that?
Well, so here's the thing about language. What you were saying is, so we have culturally, we've all agreed on, and we've got dictionaries of, oh my God, there's so many versions of different dictionaries. It's just in my research, like it's so funny. There are so many dictionaries. And so we have this, collectively an agreement of what it means, the word try, what the word how, what it means, what the word goal means, what intent means. So these are just common words. So we have like, oh, go look up the dictionary. This is the definition. But then the actual experience of the word is where my specialty is. The way people use the word, like how it actually affects them, is a totally different thing. So sure. And so I'll just drill down on the word try. We'll get right into it. Try means to attempt something. Is that okay? Can I do this right now?
Go
Can we
for
go
it.
right?
Yeah,
Yes,
go for it.
please.
Get your
This means
notepads out,
to attempt.
everybody.
Yeah.
But like, so whether it's between husband and wife, oh, I'll try to get to the grocery store today. Or if it's just within yourself, I'm going to try to run 3 times this week. I'm going to try to get on this program of running every morning at 5 a.m. 3 times this week. Or if it's within an organization and they say, well, let's try to get that report done by Friday. Or I'd like you to try to touch base with so-and-so, and collaborate on how this can get done. So try does mean attempt. I will make the attempt. That's what it means in the dictionary. How we experience the word try, and this is what I've observed. So this is just Laura science. It's what I've observed 30 years with myself and with many thousands of people and many, many millions of words that have traversed me and another person. When the word try is used, what actually is happening psychologically, and everything you think immediately triggers emotions. So those go together. So I like to call that psycho-emotional response. So when you use the word try, there's already kind of an arresting. It arrests the system, or it can actually create an uptick of stress. I'll try to get to that. I'll try to reach Mike and we'll go over the report. I'll try to get up at 5 a.m. And almost immediately, it is not an empowering word. It's not a word that makes us feel sure and mighty and I'm going to go do it. That is not what the word try does. Now, yes, sometimes it is totally valid to use the word try. It makes sense. Like if I'm holding this little jar and I'm like this, and you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to open this. Perfect form of the use of try, because we know sometimes you just cannot get that jar open and you hand it to somebody else. But if you say, I'm going to try to get up 3 times a week at 5 a.m. and go running, what the psycho-emotional experience is, I'm not totally committed. And I know it because I said I'm going to try. Because if you were really going to do it, you'd say, I'm going to get up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 a.m. and run. Just like when lunch comes every day and you say, I'm going to go get a sub, or I'm going to go get some chili, you are going to go get it. You don't say, I'm going to try to go get some chili, unless it's a time thing. But so when you use the word try, it often is going to create a reserve in you. So, and like I said, it could create an overwhelm, an anxiety, a stress, a doubt. So it's not the best word to use on the daily, all the time, which most people do because it's habitual. Make sense? So
It's so fascinating.
Yeah. So what I teach my clients and what I teach groups and organizations is eliminate that word or reduce it drastically. If you're ever going to use the word try, be very intentional and deliberate. You're using it and you know the effect it's going to have on you. So there's just a very simple example. And then a lot of people say, well, what's the replacement then? And it's an awesome replacement. You either do or you do not. And when I started to apply this in my own life, it was a game changer, legitimately. And I know people say game changer all the time about lots of things. It was a game changer because It did so many things for me personally. One, I stopped over promising and over scheduling myself to do all these things. Well, I'll try to get to that. I'll try to go. I'll try to have a party for them. I'll try to do this, which overwhelmed people, overwhelmed me. And that overwhelm does have a nick, or like it does a number on your self-concept, on your confidence, and who you think. Like, I can't get much done because I've said I was going to do all these things and I didn't do them. And so when I started saying, I'm going to run 3 times a week, I didn't have to. I can also say, I'm not going to run 3 times a week. Either one, I made a solid decision. I followed through on the decision, which results in a self-concept. I trust me. I trust what I say I'm going to do or I'm not going to do. And then it also had a whole bunch of other positive outcomes that I'm not going to go through all of them, but that's just a little example of a very seemingly mundane, no big deal word that has pretty big deal impact on your life.
I love that. And for those of you out there listening, I hope can you even just feel the power, the difference in the power between, oh, I'm going to try, or like, I am doing this, or, there's just a different energy. There's a different power. And in general, we're never trained. Like, where are we trained to actually pay attention to this? And then, like you said, be intentional about replacing it with more powerful words. I love this conversation. I absolutely love this conversation.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
no,
ahead,
no,
Laura.
no. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay.
Share your goal.
So in the company setting, in an organization setting, so like I do this with my clients. So, I mean, on the daily, I do this with my clients, every single conversation. So when we kind of wrap up the conversation and they'd be like, well, and I always say, well, so give me the summary of this session and what are your own marching orders? What, based on today's coaching session, what do you want to put yourself up to? What are you going to leave with? And so often, well, I'm going to try to, and they fill in the blank. And then I very gently, very easily, I just say, okay, so are you going to try to finish your website or are you going to finish your website? Because the thing is, you don't have to. You don't have to finish your website. You can even just say, I'm going to take one step on my website, which is way better than I'm going to try to take one. I mean, the minute you say try, you can feel it. You can feel like it's a holding down. So it's not like if you say you're going to do or do not, now you got to go do all the way to the stars and the moon. It's just like, so in a company, how this is very valuable is when everybody's on the same page of this new understanding and new use, because I'm really teaching people how to use your words, use them. Then when anyone's speaking like, well, I'm going to try to get that to, or whatever, they would be, I mean, ideally for me, they would be like, wait a second, are you going to do it or you're not going to do it? And that's not challenging somebody. I mean, can you get it done or can you not get it done? Because if you tell me you're going to try, I'm going to sit over here expecting it. And you're over there and maybe you just abandoned it. And so then now we've got 2 people, and we're not working well together because now this person gets upset because they didn't follow through and they didn't do it. And this person's like, well, gosh, I was too busy and I couldn't. So it changes. It changes what I would say the efficiency of understanding between 2 people. What's actually going to happen versus kind of this gaping hole of misunderstanding. And I don't know what's going to happen.
I can sort of
go ahead, Yidi.
Okay, I can sort of just feel the energy dissipating when you're saying, I'm going to try to do it, because you sort of know I'm not really going to do it. I really love the way you outlined it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is people use words and they don't realize they're misusing words. They don't even realize it until someone like yourself comes around and kind of just shines a spotlight on it in a very gentle way. And, because I know the way some people are raised or their culture or whatever, they wouldn't even be able to handle anyone like pointing out that they said something wrong, so everyone comes from these different filters. Whereas if you can get a company or an organization to come together with this unity of intentionality, using the words and just come to an agreement that, okay, we're going to work on eliminating these words. We're going to replace them with these words, and like do it as an organizational culture, whether it's in the home, like families. I'm a big believer of family meetings, like once a week, once a month, like something, like get the family together and just have a meeting, like just get together and talk. And it's so powerful. It's a little tiny thing. It doesn't have to be anything formal or ridiculous, or no, just fun. It could be like 2 minutes. It doesn't even have to be an hour or any arduous thing. Just this can be translated, into like you said, a marriage. It could be a family. It could be an organization, nonprofit. It could be a corporation, like anywhere people gather. How valuable! Like, that's just amazing.
Well, the most important thing in that actually is how it is affecting the individual, really. So what is an organization? It's many individuals in one place, right? Working towards the same goal. So to me, the real power is in your use of the words and its effect on you and how you show up. So I just want to throw in another one, because this is how easy and subtle, and I am not preaching you have to change your language. I am the oracle of truth, and what I'm saying is the new way. I've just observed. I've observed what works. I've observed what doesn't work, and I apply it. I've done it in my own life, and I see the difference of when you are precise with what you say, with the words that you use. It benefits you. That's the easiest way to say it. So another word people use all of the time is hard. They'll say it all the time. And even years ago, I lived in Italy for a year, and I was about 24, 25 years old, and I was to watch these 2 young children. I was kind of like a babysitter there. So there was a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're Italian or whatever. And I was so like, how am I ever going to do this job? How am I ever going to talk to these little kids when the parents are gone and be the supervisor, be the adult, on the ground and protecting them, basically, if I can't understand what they're saying and they don't understand what I say? So a very typical response a lot of people do is, I'm like, this is gonna be so hard. That's what I said. This is going to be so hard. And I would hear them speak their Italian. I'm like, I could never learn that. But that's not true. First of all, it's actually not true. We don't find it hard to speak English. And why? Because that's what we were introduced to. And not Gidi. I mean, your native language is probably not English, correct?
No.
But so your native language, what you were born and raised to, we don't ever say it was so hard. It was so hard learning English or our native language, because that's what we were raised on that. And so it's not that learning Italian for me was going to be hard. So this is one way to apply it. Is it hard? No, it's not hard to learn a language. Actually, it's not hard to learn what is hello in Italian, versus English. It's not hard to learn. Oh, it's buongiorno. Oh, okay. That wasn't hard. There was nothing hard about learning that. And it's not hard to learn the next word and the next word and how to put these. It's not hard. What it is it's unfamiliar. I'm not familiar with these sounds making up this sentence that I want to make for these people versus the sounds I would make for the people back at home. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just unfamiliar. So what I'm actually experiencing is this is unfamiliar or a little uncomfortable, because it's just not coming so fast, but it's actually not hard. And so because I was able to switch my mind right away, I did go to school, I did learn, and I had in my mind, this is easy. It's easy just to learn what's the other. And when you do think something is easy, you have a whole lot more energy at your back, just kind of pushing you, than when you think something is hard. So just another tiny nuance to how to literally live the word. Use the word.
So powerful. So powerful.
And I was just thinking, I think the problem is that we often are lacking the awareness of what it means when we use those words like try or this is hard. So I think often just the awareness can make such a huge difference, actually.
It's true. And it really does. It starts with the individual, which is why, I'm very well practiced at helping an individual do this. And so now the new mission and the new, okay, so now I'm going to do this, for a big group of people, but this is the case for it. If you've got a bunch of people who are operating and functioning together, you would want to share an understanding of a more empowered understanding or awareness of these words we're using all of the time. Let's just upgrade that a bit, because try is getting us nowhere. Hard is getting us nowhere. And I got plenty of other words too that are getting us nowhere. And then I have replacement words. Let's use this word. And when people use this word, we know exactly what you mean when you use that word. So yes.
That's
Mm.
awesome. So
Do you have, yeah, I was just gonna ask you, Laura, do you have a specific system you always use, or how do you help people?
So, okay. So just for clarity,
Hmm?
there's another word. These are one of the words. This is one of the words. But so for clarity, what are you asking? Do I have a system for how I coach people, or a system for how I illuminate or share these words with people?
For how you help people, the
Yes.
first one.
So you know what? I am very kind of like, it's just my nature, it's my personality. I'm very organic, and I really kind of just, I'm right in the present moment with who I'm with, and like really, so there isn't a system. What I do is I really listen. I
Mhm.
really listen to how somebody talks. And here's why I listen so well, because my job as a coach, I must understand you. I had already had, like, early in my coaching career, I didn't understand. I didn't really understand. I thought I understood. And this is another thing that people do. They think, and that's the most important word, understand. You think you understand what someone's saying just because you can. I heard every word they said. I know all those words. It made sense to me, the sentence, so I understand. That's what most people think understanding is. And do you want to know what understanding actually is?
I love
Mm,
this. Yeah, I
please.
want to hear.
Understanding is it's actually feeling. That's really what true understanding is. It is a feeling. It is resonating with something the person has said. There's a resonance. I feel that. And also knowing is in the body. So there's some knowing of what the person said. I know that. So I talked about being in Italy for a year and having a different language. Now, Gita, you've had this experience too, probably having to be in
Yeah,
another. Yes. And so you could understand, I'm sure you could understand what I really meant when I said, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
yeah.
Right? Not everybody could, if they have not been in a situation where they
Mm.
have that. Now, it doesn't mean they don't understand them. They didn't get what the person said, but understanding is really important. And it really means, like, I have been there. I have felt that. That's what real understanding is. So understanding is not an easy thing to arrive at. So back to my system, I am,
Mhm.
when somebody talks, I will really listen to what they're saying. And if I cannot either turn to somebody next to me and say, here's exactly how she feels, this is what she just said. If I can't do that with confidence, I don't understand. Or if I don't have some feeling about it, like there's some hit physically, because knowing is in the body. Knowing is in the body. Data is up here. Everything we've
Yeah,
learned,
it's,
remember,
yeah, I
is
agree.
data, and knowing is
Mm.
in the body. So if I can't turn to another person and confidently say, this is what she went through, I don't probably really understand. And if I didn't
Mm.
feel anything from what the person said, then I may not understand. So then my system is simply, I'll ask people, can you say it another way? Because I heard what you said, but I'm not
Mm.
getting it. I'm not feeling what you said. So I really don't know. I don't think I really understand. And so then they will say it again using different words. And then I will come back and be like, okay, is this what you're saying? Do I understand? Do I have you? So that is my system. My system is extreme presence and listening. And then I do always re-articulate. This is what I think you're saying. Is this what you were saying?
Mhm.
No, that's brilliant.
Amazing.
Absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. This is so powerful. Yes.
And I don't use this in my marriage. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's a joke. It's a joke. I use it this much in my marriage, maybe.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm not coaching perfection, folks.
Yeah, it's what was going through my mind as you were talking, one of the funny little images that I get in my brain. I was the telephone game. Like someone says something, and you could be in a room of 7 people, and every other person in that room heard the exact same thing, but completely heard something different. It blows my mind. And and when we start talking, and I'm like, that's not what I just said, but it's what I thought I said, but they didn't hear it. It's just the whole thing is fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's true. It's like we always interpret what we hear on the background of our own experiences, and yeah.
And we can't change that, and that's okay. So I am not on a mission to change that. That will always be, which is really why for me, the value I bring is let me help you with your understanding of the words you use so that you have a better resulting effect in being you, because it's you walking around all day long, you in your head all day long. And I really want people to be inspired. I want them to feel empowered, and I want them to do what they really want to do. And their words, their language, cause a lot of problems, a lot of problems with that. A lot of delay, a lot of doubt. It diminishes them, and I don't want that for people.
I love that. I think our listeners can feel that. Geety, can you feel that from Laura? Because I've
Definitely.
yeah.
I sort of get the feeling of, yeah, so much help actually in how you can communicate better, and you can get better relations, and I really love this.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super valuable what you bring to the table for any organization. And I just thank you for blessing us with that today, like your presence. I someday maybe I can hire you to just like shadow me for a day, because I always feel like I need someone to help me with my words.
That would be, I mean, I would love that. That would be so fun. I think you would start to get very annoyed. Angie, you would have been, but no, that would be so fun, actually.
Yeah, it is funny because some people are receptive to, working on words, and other people, they're not even thinking about it. Most people aren't even thinking about how their
Yeah.
words
Well,
are
here's what I'll
affecting.
say. I will say this. So what I've seen, and I just think here's one benefit of really taking the time to like let me understand better some of the words I use and the effect they're having on me, and just pay attention. Because when things aren't going right, your life isn't happening the way you want it. You kind of look, to the left, look to the right, and you see other people doing stuff. Why is I'm not doing that? Why is that not happening for me? Very common in the human psyche. What people will first tend to do is go run and get a book, get another book, buy a seminar, buy a webinar, go to this. They will go and want to find the answer. There's, it's out there. It's out there. Me being stronger is out there. Me being more confident, it's out there. Me getting to my goal, it's out there. And there's a lot of great stuff out there. Absolutely. And that does nourish us. It does feed us. But really what I've seen is you do not have to have all of that. The worst and the best is happening just really from here to here to here, truly. So, and that's what I mean by inherent power. You already have this power, the power to think what you want to think, choose whatever word, choose whatever thought you want. That is an inherent power you have. And
amen. Oh my gosh. Amen. I love this. I love this. Yeah. Our whole society is built around go out there and take this pill and do this thing. And when the power is inside of us, and I love that you use the word precision, because that is a very powerful word that it's inside of us, but we just have to be intentional to tap into it and pay attention to it and give it the right energy and words. And it's a process. It's a human journey. So yeah. And I love how, you're so authentic with the way you share this, because I know, we're all human, like nobody's perfect in the way we say words. And, words have been a part of the human race. Like we're the only creatures on this planet that can use words.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's therein lies how it's inherent. We were given this. It's in us.
Can you imagine the squirrels up in the tree, like having conversations around the nuts, the water cooler? We had Brian was on recently, and he was talking about just with the pandemic and how people had to be in their homes and they weren't around that water cooler sharing words and these little back and forth conversations, just those little tiny touches. He said that has changed the corporate environment a lot. That's his thing. So he works a lot in that regard, which I thought was fascinating, because I never really thought about just those little interactions and those small interchanges of words that we don't get to know our coworkers as much if we're not in the room together. And like you said, be present, like with them. Yeah, so just powerful stuff. So,
Yeah.
what do you think, Giddy? Anything else we want to, do you have anything else you want to share, Laura? Are there, like, if people wanted to hire you to help with all of this, what are some of the objections that you get? Like, are they, what holds them back from saying, yeah, Laura, I love what you're saying here. I think our marriage, our organization, or, whatever, would really benefit to have you here. But, and then fill in the blank. What are some of those reservations people have to actually step into owning this and bringing you
Well,
in to help?
actually, yeah. So I actually had one recently. And this was a company who I actually approached to teach my whole thing to their whole company. Like, I mean, I really wanted to bring I have a presentation where they're like 12 words. I have a growing library, but there's like your phase one, your real basic, like how, try, hard, problem, decide, like the words we're using all the time. And I really wanted to do it for his company, but he was just hard pressed. No, I've got one employee. This person needs help. And could you please give coaching to this one person? So I was like, sure, absolutely. And so we worked together for a month, and then he didn't see fireworks after a month of coaching. And he was a little frustrated. I understand, because he has needs. And this is why I wanted to do the whole company, because the way that he talks to this particular employee who is in the sales is very important to the whole company's survival, because this is the one who brings in business. I see that, like, the whole company should be operating with this new diction. And I call what I give people directive diction. These are words that will direct you toward what you want. This is not just talk and sound nicer. It's like, no, these words will actually move things. But anyway, so I work with her for a month, and then he and I get on the phone after the month to decide whether or not, should she have another month, or is that it? And he really wanted to, like, cut it off. This is just not, I've seen nothing different. And so he has an objection to it. And I understand. I'm like, I understand. And, like, you can have this choice for sure. But here's the thing. Your employee, it's not that she doesn't know how to do the sales. She's been in sales training. She's been to many companies do, giving them trainings, and they did more data. It's really the same stuff, just maybe a different presenter and a different model, a different thing, but it's still, here's how you do it. Here's how you overcome the objectives. Here's how you get the first call, all that stuff. And they know that. This particular client's problem is her concept of herself, and so when I started working with her, and I mean, and she's like straight up, she's like, she has a real fear, and she actually feels apologetic. Like, she comes off apologetic to, I'm sorry, could I just have a little bit of your time? And I know you're busy, and, like, would it be okay if I, like, this is where she's coming from on the sales call. And it's very obvious. I have not been on a sales call, but just talking to her in a normal coaching conversation, it is very clear that's where she's coming from. And changing your diction, like we said earlier, it goes on automatic. We use words on automatic, right? And that shapes who we are. And you can change that. So her changing the words that she uses will change what she thinks of herself. And, like, how many times has she tried? I've tried. And this just brings her down, because nothing's working. Because you know what? But it's so hard. And I can't figure out how to do it, how to get it. And this is becoming a problem. Now, those are 4 words everyone here listening, and you and me, we use those 4 words on the daily. And those words are disempowering. And the more we use them, the more we believe them. And the more we believe them, the more we take that on as, well, this is who I am. I try, and it's hard, and I don't know how, and this is becoming a problem. And so I explained this to him, that we're changing her language so that she will have a different knowing of herself, a different concept of herself. I can do this. I do this. I will do this. There are many ways to do this. There is a lesson in this for me. So, so I'm kind of giving without telling you. I'm giving you the languaging that is better, and I'm using also the language that is not good. But they're all like normal words. They're all normal words. So, kind of like what Maya Angelou says: "Once you know better, you do better." And I mean, I really believe that for these words. Once you know, and you really, and Gita used the word awareness. Once you have an awareness of the impact of that word, what that word is really doing in the experience of the word versus the dictionary, data of the word, then, and this was my personal experience, you just start using it and you see immediately the effect of it. And then you're like, oh, I get a little boost from that. Well, I'm not going to forget to use that word the next time that word comes around and it wants to be used. I'm going to use that word again. And then you build a new habit. This is what I have on automatic.
Gold,
Okay.
fire sauce. If you're listeners
Yeah.
out there, I hope you were taking notes. If not, rewind. Oh my gosh. Gita, you got something for us?
I was just going to say, all you listeners who are listening to this, I'm amazed, and I think there's so much value, and I'm looking forward to exchanging my words and stop saying try and problem and hard and and now if you listeners, you're thinking the same thing, and perhaps you want to know how you can get in contact with Laura. Would you share that with us, Laura?
Yes. And before I do, I have to tell you the end of the story. So I say this
Oh,
to her
sorry.
boss. No, I'm sorry. So I say this to him and he was just like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. Oh my God, absolutely. Another month of coaching. And so, so then her and I are continuing to coach. And so anyway, so two objections. That's, I just kind of like it's kind of obvious and it's pretty, he could understand that. It's like, yeah, because we all have self-concept. We all have that. And it's because our words are not helping us with our self-concept. How people can get a hold of me is at precisionspeaks.com or lauraburkeyevents.com. Actually, that's where to go right now, lauraburkeyevents.com. And I have a workshop that is coming up in May outside of St. Louis, Missouri, in Illinois. All the information is on that site. And then, and this is a workshop that I am going to be traveling with. So traveling around the country, and I certainly can be hired by organizations and groups who want to, illuminate us, teach us this. I will just bring this right to your conference room, right to your gymnasium, whatever. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, and
I'm
I had the
just gonna-
opportunity. I had the opportunity to see Laura live a few weeks back, and it was fantastic. So I can't say enough about how awesome and the power she brings to the stage. So
yeah, that's for sure. I just wanted to repeat, if you want to contact Laura, it's at lauraburkeyevents.com. Perhaps I should spell it. I'm just going to spell it. That is LauraBurkeyEvents.com. LauraBurkeyEvents.com. So thank you for joining us today, Laura. It's been so much value.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I've got a ton of notes and I'm looking forward to looking through them all over again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
I'm Giddy.
And I'm Angie. And thank you all for listening. So I just want to say, keep your momentum, keep moving forward. Thank you for listening to Momentum Makers podcast. And if you want to learn more about what Giddy and I do with Elite Virtual Stages, you can find us on Facebook and on the web at elitevirtualstages.com/fill, FILL. So you can fill your events. Super awesome free gift that we've got for you guys there. If for any of you that want to do your own virtual events. So thank you, Laura, for coming. And is there any last thoughts that you want to share with our listeners before we sign off?
Nope, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, keep your momentum, keep moving forward, keep being awesome.